Part of allyship is having frank conversations about race with friends and family who may have racist ideas, but these conversations can be difficult to navigate. We put together this video to help non-Black people have conversations about racism and white supremacy with their loved ones. Older family members may not be seeing both the incredible resources and terrifying stories being amplified on social media, so it's our responsibility to share that information with them.
In the Vox article, How to Be a Good White Ally, political strategist Ben O'Keefe explains how, quote, being a co-conspirator is about doing the work. It's taking on the issue of racism and oppression as your own issue, even though you'll never truly understand the damage that it does, end quote. Part of this work is engaging in these conversations. Inspired by articles such as this one from Rachel Miller at Vice, here's some advice on how to make these conversations more productive and less stressful that we found helpful when doing our own research.
Know what you're talking about. It's essential to educate yourself before doing any anti-racist work, and this is especially true when trying to converse with and educate others. We're attaching resources to help educate yourself on anti-racism, white supremacy, police brutality, the history of oppression of Black people in the U.S., and how it's continued into current events today. These examples also include some common things people may say that you probably disagree with, and how you might respond. It's important to know what you're talking about and be able to convey that in order to make your case in these conversations.
If this is a loved one you know well, thinking about what values or experiences they have that could help them better understand this issue can help the conversation feel less combative. For example, if religion is important to them, you can explain this issue through the lens of their faith. If they like numbers, come prepared with statistics. The advantage of having these conversations over watching the news or scrolling on social media is that you can tailor this discussion to the person you're talking to.
Be willing to share your own growth and mistakes. One way to avoid tense conversations that feel accusatory is to talk about your own growth and what you've learned from your mistakes. Most allies have made mistakes at some point or another regarding anti-racism. Feel free to share those moments for you, why looking back you regret that decision or action, and how you've learned since then. Doing this shows empathy and communicates a path towards active anti-racism to the person you're talking to.
Criticize the ideas instead of the person's character. If you call someone a racist, that will likely not go over well, even if it's true. They will likely get defensive and stop listening to what you have to say. Condemning their actions or ideas rather than the person itself keeps your loved one engaged in the conversation, hopefully enough to convince them that while their thoughts, actions, and ideas may be racist, they can learn and grow just as you and many others have.
Make sure you listen as well as speak. Because you feel passionate about this issue, it can be easy to want to share as much information as you can and avoid listening to harmful thoughts and ideas as much as you can. However, it's important to let your loved ones share their ideas so you can respond in ways that address what they actually think, not what you assume they think. Additionally, if you listen to what they have to say, they may feel better engaging in the conversation and be more receptive to ideas that challenge their worldview.
Don't end at conversations. Being anti-racist is about taking action. These conversations are incredibly important, but don't stop there. It's essential that you remain active in other ways, whether it is through donating, fundraising, protesting, advocating for different policies, and more. In the Vox article, activist Leslie Mack explains that being an anti-racist is very different than conversations around learning about racism or understanding privilege. This is very specific to action and what changes you make in your life that affect your community in positive ways.
Attached are some resources that we learned from and that delve into these tips in more detail. Have you had difficult conversations about race with friends or family that turned out to be constructive? Do you have advice of your own to give us? Let us know in the comments.